Hello, my beauties. Today I'm going to be talking about the real high vibe code of embodiment and how that completely changes the wealth mindset conversation. And this is something that's super alive for me and really exciting for me to talk about because I feel like, actually, I know that so much of the personal development and business coaching and all kinds of coaching really has thankfully over the last 20 years, right, embraced this idea that mindset matters more than strategy. The where your mind is at and what you're saying to yourself and then what your beliefs are really matter almost more. Actually, it does matter more in your ability to create what you want, more than just strategy, just action alone, right? So we've realized that, and then in every business program you've probably taken, there's been something around mindset, right? And the understanding that you really have to shift what you think about, the way you think about your life, what you believe is possible for your life, and so that you can actually implement the strategy that's being taught and it actually get you results. Now, what's super cool and what I didn't realize until recently, and this is what is becoming really important in today's conversation in 2019 and beyond, is this idea of embodiment. And I'm going to share with you what that means, but you've probably been hearing this word a little bit more, and it's starting to be talked about a little bit more as something that's really important. One of the things that differentiates mindset from embodiment is that mindset is analytical, it's intellectual, it's cerebral, and so it's in the head. And those of us who know and have done a lot of feminine practices, we know that a lot of that is centered around the body. Yeah. And so we've learned now, I think over time, so many of us have been in this hustle and grind paradigm of success, that yes, you can think your way to success and you can strategize your way to success, but what falters in the process is your body, is your health, is your true fulfillment in the way you feel body, mind, soul. And that's the reason that embodiment is so important here, to bring into the conversation, to actually use it as power to fuel what we want to create. And so the codes that we're receiving right now around prosperity and power and pleasure, they are being anchored on the planet. You guys heard me talk about this in my last live the other day. They're being anchored on the planet, which is so exciting, especially for the divine feminine, because it is anchoring new codes for our success, because that's what actually needs to happen. The divine feminine needs to rise. And this isn't even about gender. This is about the feminine within all of us rising, and that means that we are more embodied, that we are more centered and intimate in our own body, in our own truth, in what's right and what's wrong for us, in what's in alignment and what's not in alignment. And we start to heal the misalignments that have been operating within us for a long time. You guys know that I talk a lot about trauma and wounds because I don't want to perpetuate that we have to be in trauma and wounds forever, because it's actually about coming into our sovereignty. It's actually about healing the wounds that have been dictating the results that we've been getting in our life, so that we can close the door, transmutate the wounded feminine into the powerful feminine, into the queen feminine. That's really what we're creating here. And so what I'm talking about is the pathway to that. The pathway to that sovereignty is through embodiment. It's not through pushing. It's not through hustling. It's not even through strategy. And in my programs, right, if you work with me, you know that we talk a lot about strategy, because we do have to employ strategy to grow our companies. There is a reality on this planet, right? There's a financial reality, there's an economic reality, and there's business structure reality that is changing. But there's like the pieces that are still in place here that we have to, sell our services because we're making change on the planet, and that those services really make a change. And without structures in place to support our sales, we will not grow a company. We likely, what you've experienced so far, if you don't have structures and systems and scale in place, then you will have feast or famine, roller coaster, get caught up in your emotions, not really follow through, not have focus, and not have discipline. And when I'm talking about those pieces, I'm talking about what? Masculine energy. And so the key here in going into the body is that we actually have more access to healing the wounded feminine and the wounded masculine within all of us, so that we can come into sacred union or full sovereignty of our power, no matter the gender. And so for women especially have been plagued with this for so many reasons. We have very specific wounds that are not, as usual for men. This is societal, within our families. It's perpetuated for thousands of years. And those of us who are women who are divine feminine, spiritual women, we actually came to the planet to elevate this at this time right now, which is super exciting. So it is our responsibility to heal the wounds. And we actually chose the wounds before we came in. We knew exactly what the wounds were going to be so that we could feel them, and now we can heal them. And we can rise into power. Power meaning sovereign power, love power. And we need resources in order to do that. We need financial resources. We need to stop turning away from the money conversation, the business conversation, the building a company conversation as women. We really need to stop doing this. And this is the conversation that we don't have to do it the masculine way. We don't have to hustle and push and force and do things that we don't want to do. And we don't also, though, get to just like flow and like not really get disciplined and focused and not really get some skills that we need in order to grow, right? It doesn't mean that either, because that's actually a wounded inner child reaction. I don't want to do that. I don't really like doing that. And so there are pieces here that we need to heal to know which part is coming from wounded, tantrum, drama, avoidance, right? And these are the pieces that are still like running in the background that causes us to like totally hold back and not serve at the highest level. So embodiment means, right, that you will not just focus on being high vibe. Being high vibe all the time, right? And ultimately we are going to high vibe, but here's what I want you to know about this. High vibe based on just affirmations and mindset is ultimately spiritually bypassing. It's a bypass reaction, because you might feel an emotion and you go, oh no, I can't feel that negative emotion. I have to push myself into higher amounts of cerebral talking to get myself out of that negative emotion. Ultimately, it doesn't work. It's not sustainable. So it might work in the moment, but what we're learning now is that that doesn't work long term. You are not truly embodied in your power when you're just telling yourself something you should think about. So what we want to do instead is actually really be embodied, and that is feeling the emotions, becoming deeply connected to our own body, to our own soul, to our own heart, and what's happening there, the fears that are there, the triggers that are there, the shadows that are there. And then we start to transmute them, right? And that's the deep work that really you need someone to guide you through, right? It's really excavating this deep stuff around codependency and procrastination and paralyzation and waiting for a savior and fear of being visible and fear of being an imposter and fear of not being good enough and fear of conflict. All of that is negating your power. And so we need to actually go into the body, because there are balls of energy that are living in the body, and we need to unravel them. And we need to bring them to light. We need to move them up into the heart center, into the throat center, into the higher centers, so they can be transmuted and we can use them for power. Power leading us to greater amounts of pleasure and greater amounts of prosperity in our experience on this earth plane right now, because we need more resources in order to support what the planet is going through at this moment. So that is the work that we're doing in embodiment. When you start to do that deep work, that's when bringing mindset, like reprogramming your brain with different affirmations and saying different things to yourself, literally reprogramming. But that has to be done along with the emotional body, the embodiment. And then you put together strategy with that. Then you learn strategies for packaging up your services in a high-end way, and really your vibration really shifts at that point because you've actually done the deeper worthiness work that's been holding you back. You cannot think your way into more worthiness. Worthiness comes from within you. It's starting to orient toward yourself first versus everyone else. And that's when your worthiness skyrockets. And when that happens, your vibrational frequency actually really does just grow and grow and grow. And you become queen-like. And so that is where the power comes in. That's when you can reprogram with, certain affirmations. You can journal, and you can, be very intentional about what you want to put inside the brain, the thoughts, all the things that are happening. And then you have strategy. Then you start to implement the things that you haven't done before, the things you turned away from, like selling, like really making offers, like being really, really out there on social media and doing videos and believing in yourself and believing in your offer, and then setting up systems to scale. And that we talk about in my program around, how do you set up advertising that works for you to bring you clients, literally, and hiring a team to support you. And these are all, if you don't have those in place, a lot of that comes from wounds, as well as not trusting, doing it the lone wolf route, not having enough money, feeling fearful to invest. All of that stuff is there, and that's what we're working on. So when you bring all of this together, that's when the quantum leaps happen in how much of the capacity to hold more that you have. Hold more clients, be more visible in the world, hold a lot more money, have a team, make investments and also pay team, and know that you can hold it now. This is the key. So embodiment is the real high vibe. There is no just trying to mindset your way into reprogramming your brain. It really is around embodiment. Super excited to be here. Thank you for being here. I see you and I love you, and I'm so happy we're on this journey together. Much love.